I have been noticing a wave of moist critical hate. A few tweets, a few vids, some Reddit posts, whatnot. I know this isn't the biggest deal. It's fine to not like his content. As I grew older, I do find much of it quite bland. I do not watch him at all, let alone regularly. But it's just odd to me. I've just seen like a spike in it, and it just made me think about you know how we like look at things in our culture. People feel this incessant need to not only dislike something, which is obviously fine, but to act like the reasoning is some sort of profound like they're breaking. They're kind of like looking through the matrix here and shattering the status quo. Like their divinely ordained opinion has shone through the wool over everyone else's eyes. Let's take a look at what I mean. Moist Critical, aka Penguin Zio's content, is basically a huge circle jerk. So let's take a look at the critiques here. So what's interesting about the perp here is I do agree with some of his critiques, but what fascinates me is the fucking sneering, condescending tone he uses throughout the whole fucking thing. Just like the general ad hominem he uses to Moist. First of all, most of his videos are basically talking about the recent situation and judging everyone from a high ground. He always uses the popular opinion in order to get praises without providing any of his own critical thoughts. Aimably an argument in the majority side is A. He'll be like A guy bad, B guy good, blah blah blah. Like dude has opinions. Like go the horror, dude. He has some opinions, and while I do think basically all of his takes are like bafflingly uncontroversial, this is nothing to show how he is being disingenuous or following a bandwagon. The critique of having him no critical thoughts, like Diddy Blood. What the hell did Judas do? You know that isn't like such a super profound critique, especially dude. It's honestly refreshing to have anyone who just reports on recent events that doesn't fucking lie, that doesn't skew events. And I'm sure he does sometimes, but I mean, come on, look how biased your average news source is now. He's basically a news channel. Like I said, it's not my thing, but I mean, he's not. He makes like 3 videos a day, and they're all like 20 minutes long. So, I don't. You just don't know what you're expecting here. Let's look at some of the comments. Hey guys, it's Critical. Today I'm going to talk in complete monotone about the subject I spent 10 minutes Googling, only have surface level knowledge about. All sprinkler words like common shit in every other sentence. I don't care about this stuff, and I think anyone who does is dumb. Well, that's about it. See ya. The comments actually pretty funny, and I do agree that, Critical doesn't ever go more than a cursory look, but, at least he's never, he's almost never factually wrong about shit. 10 minutes of Googling, it's more than most people were ever. I don't know why people are so down on Googling these days. We have so much knowledge at our fingertips, but only, Googling shit. Literally every time, I'm in an argument with my roommates and I Google something, they're like, yeah, you're on Google. Yeah, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck else am I supposed to use? If I use, DuckDuckGo or some shit, and the same stuff is full up. From this subreddit, what's it? Penguin Zio or Moist Critical was an unfunny fake douchebag. This one's a bit meaner. This one's a bit nasty, a bit mean. The unfunny thing I'm impartial to, but let's look at the other takes. If you actually pay attention to his videos, every single thing Charlie says is a completely recycled take, delivered in a monotone voice with reused edgy analogies sprinkled in there. So first of all, the monotone thing, I think that's just how he talks. Most people talk like that. People expect the wacky YouTuber voice, and to commemorate that, I'm going to be using a wacky YouTuber voice for the section just to show you this is not how normal people talk. Now, the recycled take thing is a pretty interesting critique. I generally agree with his opinions are pretty boilerplate, but this is really a super interesting cutting criticism? Popular opinions are popular for a reason, after all, and I don't think any of these critiques prove he's a fake douchebag. The claims of condescension or being essy don't scan super well, and all it reads like negative word salad to me. The comments make a pretty decent point, If you don't like the content, you just don't really fucking watch it. Aside from that, something that pisses me off, and this is underreported and kind of as a side, but something Charlie did do that's super wrong that he doesn't get shit on is how he helped Carl Jobs essentially cover up that fucking Billy Mitchell lawsuit lie.
Well, I thought that was dead to rights. Then again, I didn't know what the full case was about. When I was called as a witness, it was about his reputation. They kept bringing up the grapevine effect and then failing to prove it in any meaningful capacity to the point the judge got mad at Billy Mitchell's lawyers. So I thought that was a slam dunk W. I don't know what happened there toward the end that went so wrong. Jesus. Yikes. Well, that sucks. No, so it seems like the case was actually about the claim of Billy Mitchell
Now I do think Carl gets a little bit too much shit for this. Billy Mitchell is a horrible piece of shit who uses this wealth to hubcap others for freedom of speech. I don't think this is a W with Carl losing. I think it's just giving a shitty man more money to oppress others' free speech. But like fucking Charlie's like, oh man, I didn't know what to do about this. This is worse than when you calm down. You get sand in your eye after eating a leaf cake. Public buffoon doesn't even have object permanence. He's going through the 5 stages of grief. Like, he was in the fucking courtroom. He was there. You only had to put on a suit with the fucking Carl and his lawyer and shit. How the fuck did he not know this huge friction in the justice system? They can't tell you what the case is about. That's fucking bullshit. Charlie, easily the worst thing he's done in my opinion. Nobody's fucking talking about that. I'm not just bringing this up to bounce on Moist Critical's cock. I'm bringing this up because I'm just fascinated by the cultural zeitgeist. That is, whenever something is big, and whenever there's a longevity, you always have to have a strong opinion about it. People generally notice this when it comes to politics, but at least in politics, they're actually important issues to have a strong opinion on. It makes sense to feel strongly about that. But this performative incredulity, shit that doesn't matter in the slightest, is what interests me. People used to shit. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck. We used to shit on this mindset when it came to meeting things just because they're popular. But that's so in right now. Go to any popular gaming subreddit, look at the popular opinion posts for the umpteenth time, and ad nauseum you'll see oh, Fortnite, GTA 5, Breath of the Wild, I think that, game title. The thing you'll never see is any fucking elaboration. Or if they do elaborate, it's only on Breath of the Wild. They say they don't like the durability system, which is retarded, because that's the point of the game. But that's besides the point. It's interesting that we have to learn everything on social media. I don't know if it is or it's just this performative shit. It's just pervasive throughout our culture at large. But these trends are just people just hate on so much random shit. TikTok, trans people. Trans people are 0.1% of the population, and there's I know 3 trans people ever, and yet they can't go 3 seconds without getting shit blamed on them. I guess it's all just the desire to stand out from everyone with a fucking special hot take. Everyone wants to be a moment in the sun. Everyone wants to be unique. Everyone wants to be a special little guy. They fucking celebrated. They want to be a crazy human conundrum. I know I'm not saying anything super profound here, but people need to be more apathetic about things that they don't think they're important. People need to be distant from the more important bits of their life. I think the internet, if anything, is what the average person will pay attention. And I get that's a stereotype, fucking high odds and being jackasses in public. It just really shows how much we want and love fame and acceptance. And we allow this celebrity culture. Dude, why don't we give a single fuck about celebrities? It's funny, every time I see a critique, I saw people shit on the Oscars. Because anti-immigrant or anti-ICE thing or whatever. People were who gives a fuck what celebrities have to say? Bro, you watch the Candace Owens podcast, retard. If a celebrity agreed with you, you would love it because they're just people. Of course, they have political opinions, and I think that's a really unproductive way to look at politics in general. This whole thing, if you're a politic, if you're a public figure or a celebrity, you shouldn't say anything about politics when you have a platform. And you're just saying that because you disagree with them. That's kind of weird. They can do whatever the fuck they want, and I just don't. That kind of attitude isn't a very productive way to look at politics. Although I imagine it. So the moral of the story today is if you think you have some sort of hot take, you're smarter than other people, chances are you're retarded. Chances are you've never actually thought of anything of value in your entire life. 95% of people are boytones. 50% of Americans don't even have a 3rd grade reading. Actually, it's 20%. That's still pretty fucking awful. 50, it's 7th grade. 50% of Americans don't have 7. Even Charlie might be on this, but I don't think any of his videos are particularly insightful. However, you having an opinion does not automatically mean that it's a wise, sagacious fact. The internet has cultivated this culture. Have you ever even watched a true crime video? The narrator's always oh, the body language, the dude with the body language. Dude, that doesn't say shit. Everyone's so objectified these days. Whenever you're wrong about anything, you think you're smart. We're just erasing with them. Frankly, even though there's the beautiful, I'm too negative. You should never use Twitter again. That's what my